Guys, welcome back. Hello to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Lori Lothian. I'm going to take a little different approach today than my normal all signs readings, and I'm going to talk about the Putin Pluto return, Joe Biden story. And if you're really into astrology, I swear you're going to love this. If you're not, get ready to be blown away because the minor asteroids in the sky are the devil is in the details. The asteroids America, Crimea, Biden, Ukraine. These tell the real story of what's happening right now. Yes, there are asteroids even for Vladimir, the name Vladimir. And I want to show you what I think is going to happen and why by looking at Biden and Putin's chart and reminding us it's all in the context of the February 22nd first Pluto return of the United States Sibley natal chart based on the Declaration of Independence, signing date 260 odd years ago. So Pluto coming back to where it sat when the US was born is a three-part deal. And it really is a rare thing we haven't seen with the United States before, obviously, because it's not an old enough country. So yes, 7076 is Pluto 27 cap. We'll come back whipping around February 22nd, August 24th, and it was the last past date of the return. I wrote it down somewhere. It's in December. I can't remember exactly when. Where did I write that down? Maybe December 28th. So this is the basic year in which the United States is dying and being reborn. And we look at, Rome and we look at England. Both of those countries have had 3 Pluto returns, and each one of them has led to major revolution, upheaval, and change, to describe it in the least possible way. Huge upheaval and change. And even though Pluto return is constellating deeply in 2022, its influence has been felt for the last 4 years and will be felt for the next 4 or 5 years. This is everything we've been going through. The whole, Trump mania, the whole pandemic, everything we've been going through. It's all about the US Pluto return. I mean, the world's going through stuff, but the intensity of the United States, the fractures in the culture between the woke, liberal, coastal urban and the down to earth, people in the red states or the rural states, etc. There's a real split here. Like, it's intense, right? It's like literally some people think there's a civil war going on. I'm trying to remember where that was. There was Scotland, England. So yeah, one of the Pluto returns for England led to the formation of the England, Scotland, and Ireland United Kingdom. You know what I mean? So big geographical reformations that can happen with these kinds of things. Now, let me talk about this Pluto return now. You've got the context of the United States is going through its own upheaval by showing you Joe Biden's chart and Vladimir Putin's chart. This is only going to be a 15-minute talk. It's just a teaser, but here's where I think it's going. I don't think there's going to be an actual war or an invasion by the Ukraine right now. If you don't know why this is happening, I think it's going to heat up when Mars moves into Gemini, which is the United States Sibley chart, house of your enemies or other visible enemies. And that's very connected to stuff going on Putin's chart as well, with that Mars ingress into Aries, where he'll be for 7 months, starting around August 20th. And I think we're going to really see a lot of, especially with Pluto return August 24th on United States chart, heating up of this situation in Ukraine, which may be temporarily mitigated now. Now, it's Ukraine has 2 sides to it. One side is like Austro-Hungarian Empire and very European, and it is close to Hungary. And then the borders that are closer to Russia are very Russian and Russian Orthodox Church and language and share culture and ancient history with Russia. Ancient history, guys. Before the USSR, before the Soviet Union, there was still a linguistic, religious, cultural, ethnic connection. And it was back in the day in 1991 in the the Soviet Union disassembling itself to become Russia, that there was this weird rushed hasty decision made by the other guy who was in charge at the time. What was his name? Sorry, I didn't really take a lot of notes. Vladimir Lenin, to actually sort of basically hastily divide up Ukraine's borders. And the way it was done, it's kind of like a little bit, a whole culture of pro-Russian people in the Ukraine, still pro-Russian, even on the closer to the border of Russia, were kind of annexed over with the sort of Austro-Hungarian side of it all. And, there's been a lot of struggle with that part of what happened historically. And Vladimir Putin, you won't believe where the asteroid Ukraine sits on his natal chart. There is an asteroid Urkrainia, just same as Ukraine, but it's just got an A at the end of it. That's how asteroids work. The devil is in the details. We look at those details through the asteroids, the minor asteroids. You're wondering, how do I find minor asteroids? For one, go to astro.com. And then there's a drop down menu. I'm going to get over there now to show you what I'm seeing. So let me go over and we'll take a quick look, not a long one, at Biden, because the real juice is where the Putin story is. Uh-oh, my laptop's freezing. Give me a minute. I can't get to where I want to go with a frozen laptop. I think I'm trying to share a desktop, not what I want to do. Let's stop the share. I apologize. Share the screen. There we go. All right, Kai, let's go with the story that I think the punchline, if you don't want to watch the astrology and be dazzled by asteroids, is that I think somehow this is going to blow over, but it's going to come back to haunt everybody in August. And there's going to be a recalibration around war. Let's talk about some of the sky. So number one, this is Joe Biden's chart. This is the transits of the planets outside the sky. I'm recording on February 20. What is the date today? 21st or 22nd. And I will be putting this out as fast as I can. I don't even know what day it is, guys. Welcome to my world. I'm checking my calendar. 21st. Okay. So number one, you can see this is Joe Biden's natal chart. I'm showing it on the screen to you. It looks like it's sharing. And I'm going to turn off that stupid sound and look, honestly, take a quick peek at this story. Just bear with me for a minute, if you don't mind. First of all, I'm a little bit worried about Joe Biden, by the way, dying in office, maybe through a really catastrophic heart attack or some kind of unfortunate, Mars type thing, because Mars is squaring Pluto in his house of like governance, and the ninth house can represent foreign lands as well. Death by foreign lands or foreign shores or will in governance. But look at that asteroid Biden here. It's called Bida, and it's the closest I can get for Biden. When Biden was born, his surname is conjunct Pluto in the house of foreign lands with Mars, secret enemy. So let's call it a spade. There's a possibility he's coded to die while in some kind of office by virtue of shenanigans, maybe from power forces in other lands, or Mars also rules poisons, nothing like that, good old USA president being poisoned by a foreign country. I'm not suggesting any country in particular. Last thing I want to do is have an NSA like spy on me and get in touch with me what I'm talking about, because I know nothing. But there's just his code when he was born, his surname on Pluto, in foreign lands, Mars, hidden enemies, and poisons and stuff, and violence as well. Scorpio, more sneaky stealth stuff, like not like a gun, like Lincoln or whatever, not like a shooting death or Kennedy, more like something subversive and sneaky, like it looks like a heart attack, So anyway, next. Actually, sometimes, yeah, we'll skip that. Let's keep going. So in the current sky, the asteroid Biden is currently sitting up at the top of the sky in Cancer. All asteroids move roughly the same speed, between 4 to 5.5 years to go around the zodiac, depending on how close they are in the asteroid belt. So right now, this once every 4 something odd year Biden asteroid is sitting on the United States sun. Just trust me, the United States sun is sitting around the same degree, 13, 14 degrees of Cancer. And the asteroid Biden is currently transiting the United States sun, natal sun of the chart of the USA of America. And it's also crossing through the territory in Joe Biden's chart, where you can see that he's got his exalted Jupiter, the exalted leader, but also this vertex. Now, the vertex represents really pivotal life turning points and changes, and it's his own name that's up there, crossing through the US sun and his own house of death, where the vertex sits for pivots or crossroads for change. Now, I'm going to need my glasses, or I'm going to have to get closer because this is hard to read. All right, and then the asteroid America is trailing right behind Biden, and will come into contact with that same point, the vertex and the sun of the United States. You can see that Ukraine is sitting here right now in the current sky at around 22 degrees of Gemini. 22 was always considered to be a malefic degree and energetically, but it's sitting up at 22 degrees here in the sky. And what else did I want to show you? Where's that Putin asteroid? Vladimir. I couldn't find Putin, but I found Vladimir. So the asteroid Vladimir is sitting on fixed star Antares, a warrior star. This is the same place in the sky where we had the December 4th eclipse. Go watch my video. It's called Spiders and War Drums. Nobody liked it. I predicted a war. I said it was either Taiwan, China, or Putin, Ukraine coming up within the eclipse window of December 4th to the end of April. And here we are. War drums are definitely beating. And now the asteroid Vladimir has made its once every 4 or 5 year journey to Antares, the place where we had the eclipse on December 4th, where not only in Joe Biden's first house of his identity, but in the United States natal charts, ascendant, okay, at 12 degrees of Sag. So right now, the Vladimir asteroid is at 9 degrees of the sign of Sag on the US ascendant and on Joe Biden's first house. And actually right now on coming close to Joe Biden's Juno. Now Juno's not a bad placement for this because Juno is like agreements and, contracts and, like it's the marriage goddess. And sometimes it can look like coming to conciliation or agreements. So Vladimir asteroid is coming to Joe Biden's conciliation agreement asteroid and making contact as we speak. So this is one of the reasons I think it might de-escalate. Okay. Number one. Now we're going to take a look at Putin. Now this is going to blow your socks off. You really can't make this stuff up. All right. It's crazy. So let's grab the other one. Let me put Putin in here. Vladimir Putin. I just put Putin. Now, how could this be, guys, that Vladimir Putin is born with the asteroid Urkrainia on his midheaven by 4 degrees? I mean, what would the odds be for that? So I'm still on Joe Biden. So let's put Putin in. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, it sends me into spasms of fate and free will. What do you tell somebody? What do you tell Vladimir when he's 4 years old that somehow Ukraine is going to be important to his career and purpose, But it was always waiting for him. So here we have it. There's the asteroid Urkrainia on Pluto, the god of death, on his midheaven, what he thinks is his purpose, God's plan for his life. And there's the Biden asteroid, Bida, sitting at 4 degrees, all the way up at the top. Would you tell, a 5-year-old Ukraine and Biden, something like that is going to be really important to your career? No, probably wouldn't know to do that. Urkrainia is trying to touch base with Regulus. This is the star of Born to Rule, Little King, power and glory. This is where Donald Trump has his ascendant. Unfortunately, Urkrainia is at round up 25 degrees really of the sign of Leo. And at the time of this sky, Regulus was at 29 Leo, and that's a 4-degree off orb. So, it's like Putin wants to be king of Ukraine, but it's close, but not quite, just to keep that in mind. Now, he annexed Korea back in 2014 and made it into 2 separate Soviet satellite nations. Now, again, grudges about land that belonged to them all along, but you can see that the asteroid Crimea, and there is an asteroid Crimea, all right, when that Vladimir Putin was born, right, what was Crimea doing? Just like Ukraine up on his midheaven, did Crimea have any importance to his destiny, young Skywalker? Let's take a look, because I don't remember. I'm kind of just doing this on the fly today after my last client. Yes, there's Crimea up in his house of foreign lands and shores, and it's up there with America and Uranus, the god of sudden unexpected things. And Crimea, when he was born, was sitting at the 7th degree of Cancer, which happens to be, by the way, in orb of the United States natal chart sun, alrighty, as well. So interesting. Right now, the asteroid America, United States of America, is conjunct Crimea in Putin's chart. Vladimir Putin, annexed Crimea, was considered a big kerfuffle in 2014 when he invaded and took over. Some people say 14,000 people have died because of his ingresses into Ukraine, including Crimea. And there's the asteroid America on Crimea as we speak. This is the current sky, this outer ring. So it's almost like Vladimir's, Crimea piece is connected to America right now. It's all heating up in some way. And with Crimea at 7 degrees, when he was born, right, I'm fascinated to see that it's directly opposite the wounded healer in Capricorn in the house of neighborhoods. When you talk about countries and annexing neighboring countries or taking over terrain, it's the neighboring country. His Crimean wound was there from the day he was born, and America is rubbing it in right now in some way. And the asteroid is right on that wounded part of Putin. Now, You can also see that the asteroid Bida is transiting, as I told you, on the United States sun as we speak. And you can see that it is coming into contact right now with the asteroid, with the planet Uranus that belongs to Vladimir Putin. What dramatic, unexpected, shocking, crazy ass stuff is coming down the chute. And Biden's sitting right now at, let me go 5, 10. I have to check the degree. The asteroid Biden is sitting at, sorry, 5, 10, 15, 16 degrees or so, 15, 16 degrees of Cancer, and it's going to bump into Uranus. So Biden Uranus coming into play over the next couple of weeks in the sky, let's say, over the next week, as the US Pluto return is perfecting its first pass on February 22nd, could look like Biden having an unexpected agreement or radical intervention energy regarding the situation. I think it's de-escalating it in some way. My gut tells me that, especially, I just feel I intuit it. I think it's a de-escalation because Jupiter is sextiling Uranus in the sky here. And I think it could take things down a notch and delay what might still be an inevitable conflict later in the year. Yeah, because that long ingress of Mars through Gemini. And if you look at Vladimir Putin's chart and you go, well, what does that mean? The Gemini transit of Mars ongoing from August 20th through to March of 23. Well, Gemini is the house of death for Vladimir Putin, right? And it's also where he is sitting with all of this. This is his lot of fortune, kind of the fate and destiny for success and wealth in our life, or the ups and downs of those storylines of fate and of our wealth or success in life. And that 22 degrees Gemini piece of the sky is being activated by the asteroid Ukraine right now in the sky. So the asteroid Ukraine, I think I said earlier, I thought Ukraine was at 22 degrees, and I think I counted it wrong. I apologize. I'm squinting. It's at 26 degrees of Gemini. So it's just passed over Putin's Ukraine has just passed over Putin's lot of fortune. And that has been in play for the last, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks as he's been building and mounting his forces up on the border of Ukraine, on 3 borders, as far as I understand. Now, I actually think there's 2 sides to every story. And there was a kind of, as Putin says, an accidental annexation of taking of pieces of the Ukraine that are historically Russian. And, there are a lot of pro-Russian people on that border that is of Ukraine and Russia. So I want to read to you something really interesting. Okay. I want to read to you what I screenshot today from a speech that Vladimir Putin put out to the world about what's going on and his perspective. And I want you to contextualize that, if you don't mind, with the fact that he was born with Pluto, the god of transformation, power, totalitarian, what's the word? Like not a dictator, oh my God. Totalitarianism, you know what I mean, right? Oh my God, my brain. Oh my God, dictator, autocrat, totalitarian governance. Okay, so Pluto can be that kind of energy on his midheaven, and people think he's a dictator or totalitarian governor, all right, of his country. All right, so he's born for that, and now Ukraine is right there, right a part of it. So keep that in mind. He's born to have a thing about about Ukraine. So listen to this. This is what he says. Ukraine for us is just not a neighboring country. And don't forget the wound of the neighboring areas, a neighborhood with Crimea, which was a part of Ukraine until he grabbed it, right? So this is part 2 of the same story. I should look at the 2014 chart and see what was happening, but I really don't have time or patience. But if you do astrologically types want to do it, go take a look, because you're going to find, where was that asteroid Crimea? I might pull it up for February, March of 2014 is when he invaded Ukraine. Okay, hang on. So here's the article from the Wall Street Journal. Mr. Putin said those borders ignore deep civilizational ties between Russia and the Ukraine and question the legitimacy of an independent Ukrainian state, saying, this is today, Ukraine for us is not just a neighboring country. It is an integral part of our own history, culture, and spiritual space. Spiritual space. Oh yeah. Vladimir Putin says spiritual space. Okay. Well, guess what? The midheaven in its highest form is the vault of heaven. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. And for him, it might be a spiritual space. It might be a call to reclaim what he thinks is a part of the noble ancestral Russian empire back to Catherine the Great. Don't forget language, culture, religion. There's phenotypical similarities between the people who live on that part of the Ukrainian border in Russia compared to the Austro-Hungarian people who live on the border of Hungary. It's not, they're two different peoples, two different cultures too. And I'm just telling you what I know. I am not an expert political scientist, but I'm just giving you a gist here. I mean, it's not like he's trying to annex France or Paris. You know what I mean? I mean, there is historical precedent for Ukraine being a part of Russia's culture on that side. It's close to the border of Russia. All righty. I will sneak peek at 2014, and then we're going to call it a day. But I want to say, I think that there's going to be a rabbit out of a hat way to de-escalate this, although I think it's going to flare again, probably. And, in Mars's heliacal rise around 15 degrees, 16 degrees of Scorpio in November, when Russia started to really heat things up, is literally Mars rising on the identity of Vladimir Putin in his first house. He's suddenly feeling like a warrior, and he's got his tom-tom and his war, but it's stealthy energy, spy energy, sneaky energy as well. Okay, just keep that in mind. Scorpio energy, Mars and Scorpio. That's why I said we're going to have a war. Mars rising in Scorpio ended the plague. Okay, I talked about this in all my videos. I said that pandemic would be endemic already. I started talking about that months ago saying it would change after Mars's rise in Scorpio in the third week of November. And that's when we began to see Omicron take off. So yeah, astrology can tell you true sky stories. That's where I'm going with it. Let's just quickly peek at 2014. This was meant to be kind of a curious endeavor to go into the astrology. So I'm going to add the transits now again, but I'm going to go back to February of 2014, which is when Vladimir Putin decided to invade the Ukraine and annexed the Crimean part of the country and made two independent satellite states now of Russia that are in existence as we speak. So now I'm going to look for the change in the back end. I don't know if you guys can see this. February, I'm going to go February of 2014. All right. And this is a Saturnian number, isn't it? We're at like a Saturn. It's a Saturn 7.5 year itch that he's back and scratching at the wound of Ukraine. February 21st, 2014. Every 7 years, you're in a Saturn and repeat energy. Okay, here we go. So what was happening with that asteroid back in 2014 in relationship to Putin? What was Crimea doing? So back in 2014, in February, when he was invading Crimea, Crimea was conjunct his sun. Well, you cannot make this poop up, guys. So yeah, Crimea was making a pass, maybe once every 4 or 5 year pass to Vladimir Putin's son, the part of him that he considers to be the leader, sun in the 12th house. Many actors and actresses have that position, but it's like he has a sneaky backroom broker, oligarch, deal maker, I guess, with his son back there. But that Crimea was conjunct his sun throughout February of 2014. And what did he do? He invaded Crimea. Okay, like totally. You can't make it up, really. The House of Foreign Lands, his son is talking to Uranus, sudden unexpected dramatic change on the House of Foreign Lands. Crimea it was a foreign land to Russia at the time. He basically annexed it from Ukraine. And yeah, Crimea was doing its thing on his son. And everything that's his son is about now is hooked up to Crimea. And then Crimea would have encountered Saturn in Libra, peace, negotiations, diplomacy, and treaties. And that's in March, they signed a new declaration and a bunch of people signed it and made it a legal thing that now Crimea, or the two states that he made out of it, are part of Russia. So you can literally see that is a true sky story unfolding before your very eyeballs. And of course, he's an autocrat dictator type guy. And there's his Pluto in a kind of sextile to that Saturn. So he sealed the deal. And by March something or other of 2014, he had created a new part of the world to satellite states to Russia already. And if you want to know how to use asteroids in this kind of thing, I'm going to probably teach a class and sometime in the next month or two, and I'll let you know about it. I love the minor asteroids. They are truly, the devil is in the details, and we can have fun with them with free software at astro.com. It's your extended chart selection. I don't know if you guys can see. I'll go back and show you where they are. Okay. Go back to the chart selection. I think I'm sharing this, but I don't know. And then you go down, drop down menu for extended chart, and then manual entry of the asteroid numbers. But then you can go to an asteroid list and you can start scrolling alphabetically through all the asteroids that ever exist, 22,000 named asteroids in the heavens. I do not believe that all of them are at astro.com. There are more sophisticated softwares for asteroid lovers, but they don't work for my Mac, so I'm not using those ones. All right. I think I shared everything I wanted to talk about. Let's have a happy Pluto return. Let's hope this de-escalates. And maybe when that Mars is going through Gemini after August 20th and on 24th of August, there's a second wave of the US Pluto return, that we don't end up in US does not end up in an outright war with Russia over what's going on in the Ukraine. We shall see. We shall see. All right, guys. Ciao. Like, subscribe, all that good news. Check my description box, please, for courses and things that I am teaching.